Welcome back to my channel. This is Angelo Christmas and me documenting my journey to $20,000 per month as a high ticket closer. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking a bit about how my July went in terms of my sales journey. And although it's nowhere close to my big goal of hitting 20K per month, it's been my biggest goal yet, my biggest month yet as a closer, a full-time closer. So I started closing full-time again in April. And in April, I hit $43,000 cash collected and made $4,300. So that was my previous biggest month as a closer. Prior to that, obviously did hit over $5,000 before, but most of that was from setting. So I made like $4,000 commission setting, and then I started closing towards the end of that month. This was back in, what is this? This was back in March, I believe, February or March, and I made about $4,000 from setting commission, and then started closing, and then I made a little bit more, which brought me to like $5,500 commission total for the month. So that's been my biggest month so far. But this month that just passed, July, has been my biggest month as a closer full time, which in the past I wouldn't even have been proud of it, to be honest, because I was just so focused on hitting $20,000 per month that I was just seen as, okay, just got to get back to work. I would never take the time to appreciate how far I've came as a closer, and all the mindset shifts I needed to make to get to this point, to even see myself being a closer full time, which I now can proudly say I am a full time closer, because I always viewed that as something that was difficult to attain. Of course, my initial experience in sales, I was a closer. I got kicked off the team, and then I started setting. So I always saw closing as like, I put it on this high pedestal, and that sort of had a mental block on me and my ability to get to where I am today. But I overcame that, and now I am closing full time. So because I was able to make these mental shifts and reframe myself on, not always being so attached to the big goal I have, which is to hit 20K per month, but to also be proud of the progress I've made along the way, and to be grateful for where I am and all the challenges I've been through. So everything I've been through so far has been a hard journey. It's been an exciting journey, and it's one that I'm extremely grateful for to have been through, because I know that every single challenge I've faced made me into the person I am today, and it's helping me become the man I'm working towards being. So last month I ended the month at $47,000 cash collected, which equates to $4,700 commission. And like I said, that's my biggest month ever as a closer full-time, and it's actually my second biggest month in sales ever. That's the second highest month I've had so far, and I was just one sale away from hitting $50,000 cash collected, which would have actually changed my commission from 10% to 12%, and that would have brought me up to $6,000 cash collected. So I was one sale away from breaking my previous record, but it's okay. I'm extremely proud of it. It was a rough month either way, which is something I also want to reflect on, because the month started off really good. I was closing a lot of deals. I was doing really well. Close rate was like 35-40%. And then I hit a really, really rough losing streak, as you might know already if you watch my previous videos. And I went like 20-25 calls with no closes. And that started to play a big toll on my head and, my states of mind. And I was in a kind of like a rut, which I was able to help get myself out of that because I reframed myself. But because of that losing streak, it brought my close rate very low, like below the KPIs, to about 18-17% or something like that. And as soon as I reframed myself, I was ready to get back onto calls and smash it. After doing that reframe, I closed the very next deal for a $3,000 sale, and that resulted in obviously the end of the losing streak. But that very same day, the sales manager messaged me and told me that they're going to pause me off the calendar for now because I'm below KPI. Then I was like, damn, I just got back in my zone. My state of mind was the best it's ever been, but I understood it's all on me because it was due to my losing streak that happened. So I wasn't too mad about it. I understood it's part of the process, and it's just one of the challenges I need to go through to become the best closer I can be. So that was a bit of like obviously wasn't nice, because then I was limited. I couldn't take any calls for a few days, almost a week. And I was focusing on training, developing, improving my skill set. and then they told me that once I start back on calls, I must only take 5 calls per day maximum until I get back above KPI, and then I can open wide. So ever since opening up since that time again, I bounced back. I came back very well. I was closing lots of deals, and my close rate went from like 17%, and I finished the month off at like 23%, if I'm not mistaken. So almost back up to KPI, which is 25%. 2% away, which is still a big improvement in my opinion, especially because there was a large volume of calls at that point in time. So each sale doesn't really affect the close rate as much as it did as opposed to the beginning of the month. So ended the month pretty strong, especially after the losing streak. I mean, I just think about, like, you know, if I didn't face such a heavy losing streak, you know, how much more I would have done last month. I could have easily hit 10k, you know, which would have been amazing, but no point crying about the past. This month, it's now the 5th of the month. I got 3 sales so far, doing good. Close rate is currently at about 21%. So once I get that up above 25% or higher, then I can start taking more calls, which I'm hoping to do that within the next few days, because it's not nice being limited to just 5 calls per day. You know, I want to take as much calls as I can. But at the same time, I did realize that when my calendar is open for like 10, 11 slots a day, sometimes it's easy for me to not give each call my all, because I think in my head I get so many other calls in the calendar, you know, and I just noticed that that's something I need to work on, because when I have less calls on the calendar, like, I'm a lot more focused on that call, because I don't have as many opportunities to get sales. So that's a mental, I need to reframe myself on that too before I start opening up for a lot of calls, because that even could be part of the reason why I experienced that losing streak last month. So now that I have awareness of that, I'm gonna reframe myself to know that even if I'm open for like 12 calls a day, I still need to give every single call my everything, and not just end it early, or, you know, not push as hard in objections because I'm worried about missing my next call, for example. You know, just really stay in the pocket, give it my all regardless of who's next on the calendar. Because, you know, even though maybe I do spend the extra 15 minutes with this person, and then I miss my next call, and even if I don't close this call, I still know that I gave that call my everything, because I stayed in it until the end, as opposed to just, maybe if I get an objection, I don't push as hard because I'm worried about losing this call and then going into the next call late when it's going to be a lost sale either way. So I just noticed that's something I need to work on, which is what I'm going to be doing once I can open up my calendar a lot more. So yeah, that's a bit about how my journey has been last month. This month, taking it day by day, still only taking 5 calls a day, and once I get above 25%, then I'm going to increase the volume. And once I do that, I'm really excited for this month to be my next biggest month as a closer. So I hope you're enjoying this video. It's pretty much just like a recap in terms of how the month ended, and I'm proud to say that although it's not, you know, the numbers I wanted to hit, it's still my biggest month as a closer full-time, and that's the most cash I've ever collected closing full-time, and I'm proud of that because I came a long way. There's a lot of, you know, a lot of mental blockers I had to overcome to get to this point. So yeah, I'm just very grateful for all the pain I went through, all the trials, all the tribulations, and all those negative feelings I experienced, because it just helped me, you know, become even more stronger to be able to handle anything like that moving forward. So grateful for the journey, and looking forward to making an even bigger impact this month, and making this month my next biggest month in sales. So yeah, that's where we are. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking till the end. And as always, if you want to follow me on my social media, the link will be down below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.